Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun,
Do you guys know of any players who have different paddles or at least different like weight distribution lead tape wise between singles and doubles?
Yates does. I think he uses. I think he changes. I think doubles he uses the 13.7 and the singles he uses a 12.
Yeah.
But he's been tinkering with that. I'm not sure.
He uses a heavier paddle in doubles than singles?
He uses the thicker paddle. Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
So, because you feel like it's a little better for dinks and more control. I feel like I still want my drive to be my main thing in doubles because I feel like if I can drive well, keep the ball low, come in and take the ball out of the air, I think that's a benefit for me. So I don't like to change. I think it's more mental for me. I like to have the same feel in my hand every single time. I know exactly what I'm getting. Consistency is key for me. So
yeah, if you were just gonna play one or the other, right? Like if I was only ever playing, or if you were only ever playing singles again, I think that the vast majority of pros would be bumping the weight up of their paddles considerably.
If it was just singles.
If it was just singles.
For sure.
In singles, you don't need quick hands nearly as much in singles.
Right.
The main disadvantage of lead tape is the fact that it slows your hands down.
Yeah.
The main advantage of lead tape is bigger sweet spot and more oomph behind your shots. So I think if most players were playing only singles, they'd be bumping up those lead tape amounts by probably like 0.2, 0.3 ounces.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you also don't want to have to switch back and forth too much, right? Yeah. Like you want to have one paddle that you can use for both and just get really dialed in with it. So sort of splitting the difference, I'd say.
Definitely. I agree. Yeah, I used to have the 9-ounce paddle for singles, but I was also using like a Diet M, which didn't have any power. So again, I think if you use like a less poppy paddle, I think if you can bump the weight up and it doesn't necessarily affect your volleys, I think that's definitely good for you because I think driving in pickleball now is becoming, what they used to say, they used to call them bangers. Like they used to get pissed at you if you drove basically. And I was like, why? Like what the heck? So now I think it's becoming more of a driving crash game. That's what me and Zane are going to do when we play, right?
Hell yeah, brother. 100%. Which one do we have? We have,
I think Mesa.
Mesa, watch out.
Watch out.
There's going to be a lot of driving, a lot of crashing.
Fast conditions there. I like it.
Who's playing the left?
We're going back and forth, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Just play straight up?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Is that
straight up is so back?
Do we see that like a decent amount?
I mean, I like to say it's successful just because it keeps your opponents at bay just of strategy wise.
Rhythm.
I mean, you could see Catherine and Annalie had so much success doing that because, I mean, ultimately I think Catherine's mainly played right for a while there, but then they started kind of switching it up. I think it has advantages. Like me and Deckel played in Virginia Beach, and I mean, I feel like we could have beaten the Johns brothers that week, especially with that whole light debacle thing. When it was dark, we basically couldn't finish the match. But we were basically like, when I was serving, I would go left and drive, and he would crash. And then when he was serving, I would be on right, he would be left, and we would just switch it up, and it seemed to be pretty effective. And to play with someone that you could switch it up with is very, I think, good because it's like, okay, maybe you're not feeling that backhand dink, that day, or you got a little tight, or whatever. You could switch it real quick, get back into the match, switch it back. Doesn't really matter. So I think it has huge advantages. I think it's coming back. So
yeah, I like it. I think, and you can always choose to stack for a certain period of points if something's working better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, we were just talking a lot about the different balls, how they're impacted by weather, what's consistent, what's not. I want to introduce you to the Gamma Chuck. It's the official ball of the Dink Minor League Pickleball National Championships and your new favorite playing partner. The Gamma Chuck Pickleball changes the game with its 38 holes and a symmetrical pattern that ensures a true flight every time you hit the court. Designed to withstand extreme outdoor temperatures, Chuck guarantees durability without warping or cracking. We included it in the pickleball box, and people have absolutely loved it. So you can go to, let's see, what is it? Gammasports.com and grab your Chuck load today. Nice. Dink 10 for 10% off your order. It's all caps. Dink 10. Get yourself some Chucks. I got a couple of noob questions for you guys. When it comes to paddle weight, I was having a conversation the other day,
Okay.
and it kind of went toward putting extra weight on the bottom of the handle. Do you guys do that? Do you know anybody who does that?
I do not.
Try and create that like counterbalance.
No, I do not like doing that. I've tried it. I think coming from tennis, like my game style, I like the weight at the top because I need like my paddle head to come through.
Right. That's what I thought.
I think for me, like, you look at a Hayden Patriquin, he keeps all of his weight in the handle and right at the kind of bottom part of the throat.
But that would be like to create that.
I don't know. Like I think it's good for, he doesn't have a tennis background, so I think it's an easier thing for him to figure out because the weight is basically distributed to his hand rather like than further away from it. So for me, like seeing him hit a ground stroke, like I'm pretty analytical. So when I see him hit a ground stroke, I can see the paddle almost dragging where like in my mind, when I don't have enough weight at the top of my paddle, I can feel it dragging as well. And I just can't pinpoint the shots that I need to. So I've actually changed my paddle to like, I used to just go pretty much all the way around to get it to like 9 ounces. I've moved it down to 8.2 ounces. I pretty much only put the weight at the sides and the top and then a little bit on the two corners. And it's only 8.2, so I still get that paddle head speed, comes through, but then, it's really helped me in doubles, I feel like, because the paddle's not as heavy. My hands feel a lot better. I can flick the ball still, so that's kind of what I do.
Are there any limits on that? Like how much weight you can put on a paddle?
I don't think so. I mean,
There aren't.
at one point, I think Pablo was at like 12 ounces. Like it's like heavier than most tennis rackets.
Eden Leica was like 13, 14.
That's
Dude,
insane.
I forgot about
And he had good
Yeah.
hands, like, but his biceps are bigger
did.
than my thighs.
Well, all he had to do was get his paddle in the way and
it
then
just-
boom, rocket.
Jeez,
Yeah.
yeah, that's. I feel like you would get some elbow pain, wrist pain.
For sure.
I mean, gosh, that's.
I just don't understand. I guess I don't get the benefit why. I feel like you would put weight at the butt, in the butt cap, only if you like a certain balance of paddle.
Right.
Right? There's no actual benefits to having it in the butt cap.
It's just added
other
weight,
than
I feel like.
it's just adding unimportant weight.
Right.
All it does is change the balance point, really.
Right.
I do think like towards the top of the grip and into the throat area is like a pretty common area
Yeah.
because I feel like that's a spot where you can get a little bit bigger sweet spot and you can generate a little bit more pop and still keep the paddle relatively head light. So there are some benefits to putting it around the throat and whatnot. And, the obvious benefits are around the sides and the top. You get more power, bigger sweet spot, but
Yeah.
that's where you get that slowing down of the hands. I'd probably say that around the throat of the paddle is probably the most common spot that pros are
Yeah.
using lead tape.
Yeah, I mean, I used to put basically like 3-inch strips on the bottom corner and the top corner, and that was about it because the paddle I used before was engaged, and the kind of balance of it was a little more in the middle, kind of in the throat. So all I needed to do was add just a little weight overall. For me, it's the sweet spot that really helps is adding weight because I can definitely feel a difference in that. But then, it was still a little heavy for me. So, the paddle techs are a little more head heavy. So really, it's nice for me because I don't have to put as much weight. I can just plop it on really quick.
They're head
right at the
heavy, but
top.
really light to begin with, right? Like
Not-
the balance, they're like what,
No.
7.7 to begin with, aren't they?
Yeah,
7.8?
like 7.8. I
Mine's-
would like, yeah, that's true. But it's all at the top because
Right.
of the kind of, it's a long grip but a bigger head. So
That's well.
Zane.
I saw his brain going. Oh my
Okay,
god.
are we talking about pickleball? Or, so that's the thing. You can't really take weight in a vacuum. Weight by itself means almost nothing, right? My paddle with Pro XR is about 8.2, but it's super headlight, and you pick it up and
Really?
you're like, oh, this feels light.
Huh.
A paddle tech, one of the ones that you're talking about, I'm like, it's the weight's in the head of it. So, and even though it's only 7.8, it's like, oh, if you were to pick up my paddle and a paddle tech, you would think that a paddle tech was heavier,
Yes, yeah. Just because it's more weight in the head.
just of how it's
See, like I actually don't mind that because I would rather have it feel heavy but still be light in my hand. Like the weight I'm holding is still 8.2 ounces.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just it's a preference. I would like to tinker with it a little bit, maybe for doubles, like have a paddle that has a little more weight at the bottom, because I feel like Hayden again does a really good job with that paddle because he can just absorb and just flick kind of wherever he wants to. So there's definitely advantages to that, especially in doubles. So, but again, singles is king right now. So anything I can do to keep the single side of it going and still improve my doubles, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun, yeah.